All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Welcome everyone to another episode of the Cryptographic Asset Show, brought to you by the cryptographic.asset.com website. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very stoked to be sitting down today with Dread Pizza Roberts of the Rare Pizzas project. Thank you so much, Dread Pizza Roberts, for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
So, what is Rare Pizzas all about?
So Rare Pizzas is the first NFT project by PizzaDAO. It's a set of 10,000 generative pizza NFTs in honor of Laszlo Hanyecz, who, as many know, made the first known Bitcoin purchase in 2010 on May 22nd. He paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas from Papa John's, actually. He says no regrets.
Do you believe him?
I think I believe him. I mean, what is it worth 10,000 Bitcoin to be forever remembered as the first Bitcoin transaction? At today's prices, I don't know. At prices then, definitely. So I believe him. I also figure he has some more Bitcoin, though. He doesn't talk about that, which I also understand.
So it's interesting because you have a kind of Bitcoin themed NFT project. Can you talk to people about the community and the execution of Rare Pizzas?
Well, I've been in Bitcoin for, I mean, not as long as Laszlo, but only like a year or so later, I started to pay a lot of attention, and so we've been talking about DAOs in the blockchain space for a really long time, but it's only recently that we've been able to actually do a lot with the DAO tooling on Ethereum. And so in 2021 and late 2020, actually, there was this huge community on Clubhouse that was talking NFTs and blockchain all the time. And so so our community kind of came out of there. I put this idea up that we should have a DAO for pizza called PizzaDAO, where pizza's the boss, and we just try and do stuff to honor pizza, to benefit pizza. We ask ourselves what pizza wants, which we think is to be eaten, and so we do stuff that helps with that. And that was I think pizza is very compelling, and the idea of building an organization to work for the interests of pizza is very compelling. And then people all came on board when we decided to make this art project to raise money for it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you tell us about the artwork in particular, since you mentioned art project?
Yeah, so we call it an art to pizza pipeline, because we actually take the money from the art and we buy pizza with it. And the art, so it's a tremendously complicated NFT software stack as things go in this space. Each pizza actually takes 25 minutes to render, and that's because it's done on a Kubernetes cluster where it's actually running this software called Natron 3D modeling, and what it does is it picks up to 10 toppings from our 314 options, and each one of those is done by a different artist, and our artists are from all over the world. So the pizzas come out looking pretty crazy depending upon what recipe you choose. If you choose Rare, you really have no idea what's going to show up on that pizza. And so it was just really fun to put together this global community art project, 314 artists, a ton of devs, a big community, and the pizzas, they look pretty fun.
Can you speak a little bit more about the minting process? You mentioned that it's unique.
Yeah, so the way the mint works is we sold pizza boxes, and there are 100 different designs by a bunch of people submitted designs, some more than others, and so you get a box, and it's a random one of those designs, and it's actually VRF, it's chain link random, and then you take that box and you order from 9 recipe options. So Rare is the most popular recipe so far. I think it makes sense because it's Rare Pizzas, and Rare just means any topping is possible. But then there are recipes like old school, or new school or fresh catch. And like old school is kind of like normal pizzas. New school is like fusion pizzas. Fresh catch has some seafood on it. Meat amore is like a meat lover's pizza. We have a dessert pie. So we have all these options, and people get to choose. And then you don't know what's going to be on the pie, but it kind of sets the selection of toppings that could appear, right, based on the recipe.
Can you talk about forming a DAO and also DAOs in the wider context of us attempting to create DAOs back in 2015 and failing, in particular with the Slockit DAO, I believe, Slackit DAO, and then how it's evolved and how they're now kind of finally being implemented?
Like I was saying, I mean, we were talking about DAOs all the way back in 2012. We were excited, but I think we thought of them a little differently than they've actually emerged. We used to think about DAOs more as like completely autonomous sort of like computer systems that would operate stuff, self-owning cabs and the like. And I think that stuff will all happen. But today, the real way that a DAO functions in the ecosystem is as a community operated treasury. And so in the early days, there were some hacks. There have definitely been some hostile takeovers. There have been some growing pains in the ecosystem. But today, I mean, there are a ton of DAOs that are operating with various tool sets and doing interesting stuff. So ours actually functions. We don't have a token. We don't do like snapshot that much. We just have a Discord where people signal, and we have a multi-sig that is a 4 of 7, so people feel the funds are safe, SAFU, right? And we just enact what the community tells us to do. We're in a unique position among DAOs, I would say, because we have a very strong mandate from our community to spend money on pizza and feed that pizza to people, and so we do that.
Can you talk about the incentive to bring pizza to the world?
So pizza is a global phenomenon. In a similar, like we think blockchain is a global phenomenon. The internet is a global phenomenon, and as food goes, pizza is the one that everyone knows, and so. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, pizza, it's an aesthetic thing. And what we've been saying lately is, pizza, it's community in a box, right? You get a pizza, you open that, it's already sliced into 8 slices. It's ready to share. It's a community, it's a party in a box. And so we thought it really made sense as a metaphor for the kinds of things that we can do with these new ownership technologies to build consensus and camaraderie on Earth.
Can you talk about your journey to NFTs and when you realized that they would be so, I guess, successful and cool?
I got really lucky. One of my co-organizers of Bitcoin Philadelphia back in 2018, he had an extra ticket to the Rare AF art show in New York. And so this was in January of 2018. I went with him up there, and I was tremendously, just lucky to see all of the early NFT art people speak in one day. I saw Matt Hall and John Pence from CryptoPunks. I saw Joe Looney, who made the Rare Pepe wallet. I saw Bea and Judy from Dada.art. I met some Decentraland folks. I saw I think the Super Rare guys were there. Some of the OpenSea early employees were there. And so this was just, I think that people talk about like panspermia events, right? That kind of launch tons of projects and ideas. And I think that gathering was one of them. It's actually, there's some footage from it in the Pepe documentary, Feels Good Man, which is a great documentary if the viewers haven't seen it. And you can actually see me in the back for about a couple seconds in the back of the auction crowd. So I was just really lucky to go to that event, see all these pioneers speak about the new tech, and I was immediately bought in. I went home and I bought like 11 CryptoPunks for $100.
How has it been watching the space evolve?
It's been strange. It's been surprising. It's been exciting. I feel like a stranger in my own land sometimes because I think I'm relatively OG. It's almost a decade for me. I think it is a decade now in blockchain stuff, organizing Bitcoin meetups in the early days. And so the speed with which the NFT storm has taken hold in the culture is astonishing for me. It's exciting. It's confusing, um, and and I feel like every day I see something that surprises me.
What do you think? What are some of the examples of things that have surprised you recently?
So Fry's DAO surprised me. I don't know if it surprised me, but it impressed me because part of what PizzaDAO has been thinking about is absolutely, we call it the pizza franchise, and that's an open source pizzeria franchise that we are working on. And so Fry's DAO started a DAO. I think they raised about 4 million. As of today, they're trying to raise some meme number like 9.6969 something million, and their plan is to buy a franchise, just a normal franchise. I mean, I'm not super stoked about the big box franchises in the world, but I think it's exciting to create a DAO that's going to operate one. So that was interesting for me. We recently met Burger DAO and Beer DAO and Canna DAO as well, and so that was definitely surprising and exciting to me that that this kind of food and beverage space of DAOs is really coming along. There's some other pizza projects we've been making friends with. So just the speed at which people iterate on ideas is awesome.
Where do you see it going? The sort of NFTs, like what do you think? There's just like so many different possibilities with them. Obviously, I guess what actually excites you the most about the possibilities of NFT?
So it's a tough question because I feel like NFTs are going to be ubiquitous in our society, and any industry has an application for them because at its most basic level, an NFT is just a receipt, and so there's an application in most fields. I love the metaverse. We have a metaverse pizzeria for PizzaDAO. I have a bunch of parcels of my own in CryptoVoxel. So I think that making and fulfilling the dream of an open, sort of borderless virtual world where you can bring your objects with you between experiences, I think that is really cool. And I don't think that there are that many fantastic experiences today, but I'm excited to see people develop them. But fundamentally, I think for me, Web3, DAOs, NFTs, the biggest promise is consensus building. And we are in an unprecedented time of global connection where almost everyone on planet Earth has a cell phone or will have one within the next few years, which is just absolutely crazy, and is a huge opportunity for us here as the crew of Spaceship Earth to build consensus around what we value, around what is important, around what we can do for each other. So I think of blockchains in general as distribution technology, and I'm excited about using that distribution technology to solve scarcity problems on Earth, because I don't think we really have scarcity problems for most things. It's distribution problems. And so as we network our planet and we use these Web3 value systems to accelerate that, I think we're going to be able to do absolutely incredible
What do you think differentiates a successful project from a failed project in the NFT space?
I hate to say the buzzword that everyone uses, but its community is really the core of any project in NFTs. So if you have people who care, then it's a success. I think that it's as simple as that. Now there are levels of success, but I think you can push the boundaries in lots of ways with an NFT project. You can push technical boundaries, you can push social boundaries. I don't mean in a bad way, but like pushing the frontier of social organization, whether that's how you run your Discord server, or how you do your tokens, or how you do your voting, or how you signal within your community. Or you can push artistic boundaries, I think, as well. So there's lots of ground available for people to innovate. And as long as you're innovating and people care about it, then I think you're winning. You're doing a great job.
What are some of the projects that are around today that excite you?
So what are my favorite NFTs right now? I'm so lost in pizza world that I can just think of like our partner projects.
Tell us about your partner projects.
Yeah, sure. So we talked to the Average Punks community recently, and I think their art is cool, and it's and they had a little bit of a rough go where like the founder, I don't know if the founder departed or like some, and this has happened to lots of NFT communities where like they kind of launch an NFT, the community forms, then maybe the founders decide not to support or whatever. But what the Average Punks did was they have 30 pizzerias that are associated with members of their community, and they got those pizzerias to offer perks to their NFT holders where you can come in with your Average Punk and you can get buy one get one pizza, or you can get a free slice. And so they reached out to us and they said, well, we know you have 300 pizzerias all over the world. How can we work together? And is kind of a no-brainer. And so we're going to try and push that sort of idea out to all of our pizzerias over time, and even bring other NFT communities into that. So you could have your Cool Cats pizza day, or your CryptoPunk pizza perk, or whatever the NFT or community might be. So I think that was a pretty cool idea they brought to us, and a good way to use NFTs in the real world. I saw there was this. Oh, you know what? I saw this project that was kind of fun. I like the idea of composable NFTs, because that's the promise, right, of the metaverse and this tech, is that you can build permissionlessly using other people's pieces, right? And so one of them that I saw recently, and I'm blanking on the name. I think, oh no, you know what? It's called Assemblage. And what it does is you submit an NFT, and then it breaks it apart into pieces, and it's an abstract art piece. And so I thought that was pretty fun. My buddy Nate Alex from the Punks Discord, he made the Chain Face Arena, and people were a little disappointed by the art because it was just the same old chain faces that he made way back in the day, where it's just like, you know, some ASCII characters and its little face. But what was cool about it was that there was an arena where you submitted your NFT, and it's kind of like a lottery, eliminated over time. And if you win a battle, it gets a little scar on the NFT. And I was stupid. I actually didn't pay attention. I didn't submit my chain face to their arena, so RIP me. But what I like about it is, and it was really simple, but in some ways, but the idea that you can put history onto the NFT and play games with it, and then have the history follow it around. I think it's just the right way to move with these things, that leveling up your NFT and having it change based on your activities with it just makes sense. And so I like that he is pushing
And then like just said and real briefly, like as a kind of summary, like if somebody were to ask you like what is a composable NFT while you're in the elevator with them for a brief moment, what would you say?
I'd say it's an NFT that makes it easy to do other stuff with it. So you can take it and you can plug it into another game or another NFT or a DAO or just to do stuff with it. Composable. I guess I wouldn't explain to them what composable functions are in math, but depending upon who they were. But yeah, just the idea that you can take it and you can do other stuff with it. People call DeFi money Legos, and maybe you could call NFTs art Legos and money Legos as well. It turns out.
I hear a lot of people eloquently describe the way in which how in the future NFTs could disintermediate everything. So essentially all the big institutions that need money upfront in order to implement big projects would now have competition from the crowd in a way they didn't before with the ICO craze, etc. How and a lot of this has to do with how decentralized the platforms are themselves and the blockchain, the underlying blockchain technology on with which a lot of these NFTs are being implemented, I think has a long way to go from being truly decentralized in the way that Satoshi envisioned. But with that said, I think that a lot of the crypto space we're seeing go from a centralized to a decentralized flight path as a matter of practicality. So, like, how much confidence do you have in the disintermediating power of NFTs of everything?
I have a fair degree of confidence. I mean, in our case, as a case study, right? PizzaDAO, we sold NFTs. We took the money into our treasury. Then we directly contacted pizzerias all over the world, and we distributed money to them directly. And so we told them, give away $500 worth of pizza to your community. We're going to tip 125 on top, and we sent them $625. And so we call it the art to pizza pipeline because we sold art and then we bought pizza with it. And did we use a bank account in the middle? Yes, we did, because most pizzerias don't accept crypto. But this year we're going to get a lot of them to accept crypto. So that's a small example, but I think the same can be true of most things, right? You can use this tech to do all sorts of stuff along these lines.
What do you make of what platform are you using?
So PizzaDAO is on Ethereum. We have a Gnosis multi-sig safe. That's how we control our finances. We also have a bank account, right? Because we have an LLC in Wyoming, because they're on the forefront of DAO legislation, and we're in the process of turning that into some sort of nonprofit entity. But other than that, like we've used the Polygon blockchain a bit because it's cheap, and we've minted a few partner projects on there. We made some sodas and some breadsticks because our pizza holders were hungry for some for some appetizers, some antipasti, while they waited for our pizzas to come out of the oven. So mostly Ethereum and Polygon. Although we let our pizzerias tell us how they wanted the money. A few took it in Bitcoin, one took it in Dogecoin. We actually, in China, we sent the money. We had a really hard time getting money to our Chinese pizzerias. We tried Alipay, we tried PayPal, we tried all of these existing sort of Web 2 payment rails. None of them worked. We ended up using Tron USD stablecoin. so we sent USDT on the Tron network, and that was to a member in China who then redistributed that to the pizzeria. So that was pretty cool.
What do you make of some of the debate between which platforms might ultimately be best for NFTs, whether that be Ethereum and Polygon or otherwise?
I say I'm a chain maxi. I mean, I think so. I'm not super super concerned. I'm not rushing to mint NFTs on new blockchains and new platforms that I don't know well, because I'm building for the long term. So I do think that the EVM, right, the Ethereum, the Solidity community has a pretty wide, just a wide community, a pretty, I don't see it going away. And even if it did, I see the value being, and the assets being migrated. So, but I know people who are building on Solana. I know people who are building on Immutable, on all sorts of stuff. And we're so early. I don't think anyone can tell you for sure that this is the future of stuff. I feel fairly confident saying that the Ethereum virtual machine and Solidity code is here to stay. But that's not to say that it won't coexist with all sorts of other chains.
How many of the OG like Bitcoin like beliefs still like resonate in the NFT world?
You mean like the kind of Bitcoin vibes?
Like the crypto anarchy like ethos?
I don't think the Bitcoin community has done a tremendous job in the transition into mainstream. So I'm not sure that the NFT community is incredibly focused on those early values. And I think it's partially a PR thing. It's partially just a social thing where artists are not necessarily thinking about all the things that the cypherpunks who thought of Bitcoin were, but they're much closer than they would have been otherwise. So anyone who's building on these platforms, like, they're right up against all of these ideas, and if they're not aware of them, they will become aware of them. So I think the cypherpunk dreams and ideals of the early Bitcoiners are still here with us, and I don't see them going away. I think that they will continue to influence and find. I mean, I think there's a value to them personally, and I think that they will continue to be important parts of this space.
I think what excites me most about NFTs is this notion that they could disintermediate more than there already has been on the financial front to this point. So for instance, if you've got like a book deal that has some sort of potential of succeeding, then you could, instead of signing a book deal with a publisher, go to the crowd and offer all sorts of incentives, including having programmed into the smart contract that if that book does really well and becomes a New York Times bestseller, then you can also, as part of that, and the community of NFT holders, even make money off of that. What do you think of something like that?
I think it's a great application of this stuff. I think there are some risks where, as we financialize all of these things, I don't want us to get to a point where you're not sure if someone actually likes something because they're just financially incentivized to say they like it, which is not to say that does not exist in our current world, because it certainly does. So with that caveat, I think that because people talk about like toxic positivity, right, in the NFT space, where everyone's just pumping their bags and you don't know what's true or what's real. But integrity is actually the best currency in the world, and it's no different on the blockchain. So I do think we're gonna do okay, and I think that NFTs can absolutely be used to disintermediate everything from content creation to even actual product creation, and the incentivization of the secondary layer of participants in your network is a huge advance.
what is in store for the future of Rare Pizzas?
So we already threw a global pizza party last year on May 22nd. We spent about $330,000 on pizza in one day, which I think was a massive success as a 3-month-old organization, something that we could not have done without this technology stack that NFTs and the blockchain have offered us. This year, we want to do bigger and better. We want to be in more countries. We want to buy more pizza. And we think of that as global consensus building, global teamwork. It's a team exercise for the planet. And so we want to use pizza to bring people together. And then we also want to support pizza. And we think we can do that by creating tools, guidelines, networks that make it easier to make good pizza. And so that could be anything from a really robust pizza wiki with tons of great information to building actual open source software that runs small businesses, like point of sale systems, payroll systems, accounting systems. And we think that as we build all of that, we can eventually tokenize all of the pizzerias on planet Earth. And we could even, as an organization, buy some percentage of each pizzeria that wants to be a part of our network. And we can start to really represent pizza on Earth as PizzaDAO.
So what does that look like when all the pizzerias on Earth are tokenized, or even what is a tokenized pizzeria?
There was a bit of lag spike. What was the second part?
What is a tokenized pizzeria?
So it's really not that much different from how existing corporations trade on the stock market. There's no real reason that those financial technologies should not be available to small businesses. So my original calling to this space, and Bitcoin, it was very early. I mean, I just knew that I was a math major, and so I bought in immediately when I heard about it at $20. I was like, oh my God, this is the future. But with the design of blockchain systems for community ownership, I came to that because I live in South Philly. I love my community, and I see places close that the community loves. And there's no reason that these businesses should close, except that we don't have proper financial systems built where communities can support them. So I think community ownership of small businesses is a huge force for good in the world. And so I was coming at this originally from the perspective that small businesses should be community owned. The blockchain can help them do that. Banks and governments are not doing a great job of distributing value. And not that they're not trying, but it's hard, and they're not necessarily the best suited to do it. So I was coming at it from that perspective, and I would go on these long rants, and I would say, I want to create blockchain accounting systems for small business so they can satisfy securities disclosure regulations and tokenize and be owned by their community. And everyone would just glaze over about halfway through that. But you say PizzaDAO, and people, they love it. So but it comes from a similar need, which is businesses should be community owned. I think that will help us to build a richer world.
And NFTs can make that possible. Can you maybe describe the way in which NFTs make that possible?
So NFTs can be used to make that possible. I think tokens themselves can be used to make that possible. For us, the power of the NFT for PizzaDAO was that for an artist, the marginal cost of creating art is low. And what I mean by that is not that the artist hasn't spent their whole life becoming a great artist. They have, but if I tell a great artist to create something in the next 10 minutes, they will do it. And it will be great. And it will be imbued with the trust and the aesthetics that can only come from art. I think art already sells most stuff on Earth. Art is a tremendous truth signaling mechanism, because if you connect with something aesthetically, you believe things about the person who made it and the other people who connect with it that are very powerful. So when we get a bunch of artists to sign on to help make these pizzas because we want to throw a global pizza party, and people see that there's nice art that people are making, it is just a huge trust boost. And so I think NFTs can leverage that power of art for the public good.
Talk about throwing a global pizza party, digital pizza party.
So we called a ton of pizzerias, or emailed and messaged, and on any platform you can imagine. We learned pretty early on the first thing you say is not, hey, we're throwing a global pizza party. The first thing you say when you call the pizzeria is, hey, I'd like to buy $500 worth of pizza for May 22nd. And then they say, okay, that's a lot of pizza. They give you their manager, then you explain. So we did that. I was on the phone with PayPal for like a week because they kept shutting down our accounts because, PayPal kind of sucks and it's really hard to send money around the planet. It was a huge case study for crypto. My goodness. This year, that's why we're going to be getting as many of our pizzerias onto the blockchain, because guess what? I can do a multi-send of USDC to 100 pizzerias in 10 minutes. Incredibly easy. So that was a huge case study for why the blockchain is powerful. But okay, so we got all the money out to them. We got them stickers. We got them to post on socials, and then like the day came around. And it was crazy. Like our Discord was a madhouse. It started in China and Korea. The photos started flowing in. We saw in Korea, part of our team, they worked with this organization that they brought pizza to old folks who were living home alone, living alone. And so we have all these incredibly cute pictures of like giving the pizza to folks. They're so happy. And we had all these videos from China, and then the globe turns, right, and we're in we had Australia at that point too, right? We come around, and then we're getting news from India, we're getting news from Africa, like we see all the pizza in Nigeria, we see all the pizza in Europe, and then we finally get over to the East Coast. Oh no, actually, sorry, we were huge in South America. Like our Spanish language team was just run by our friends in Chile, and they did a tremendous job, like onboarded a huge amount of pizzerias in South America and Central America. And so it was just, I mean, if you scroll, there's this channel in our Discord called Free Pizza Day Photos, and like if you scroll, it is just heartwarming. It is awesome. Like getting to buy people pizza and have them know that someone somewhere on planet Earth thinks they deserve pizza just for being a human is great. It feels awesome. Like this girl in Nigeria had her first slice of pizza, and we we have her, like, she's so happy, she's dancing. It was just tremendous. I mean, and for our community, like, just so fun. So I'm really bullish on pizza.
That makes sense. Can you speak to like doing good through this community and how that's a good example for like other NFT projects and a good kind of case study?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said earlier, one of the things that draws me to this space is this idea, which I think part of it comes from like Buckminster Fuller, who's a personal hero for me, and this idea that Earth is a rich wonderland for humanity, and that scarcity is actually not the problem. It is distribution, and so we get to be this case study of using the blockchain's distribution mechanisms to do something that is pretty hard to conceive of how to execute, right? Throwing a global pizza party. It's not, I don't think we could have done it without the blockchain and this NFT space, which brought all of these people from all over the world together to pursue this mission. And they trusted because they knew that they were all getting, like, we gave all our community their own rare pizza NFT token. So there was this kind of trust that was built with that, plus the multi-sig tech. And so yeah, we absolutely wanted to position ourselves as an example and as a guide for people building in this space of how to build a DAO that's for the public good. And we take the stance that pizza is a public good, which is funny, but also maybe true, I think, and definitely thought provoking. And so we think of ourselves as a blueprint. If you put any word in front of DAO and you really seek to deliver on whatever that might mean, there is just a huge amount of power and of people power that you can bring together, and financial power, to pursue that mission. So I'm really impressed by what we did, like by the people who joined our community and did it, and I'm super excited to see what we and all these other projects get other people to try and do, right? That we inspire.
Can you talk about the artists? Highlight some of the artists and how that works, with them kind of getting selected at random to create the art.
So the first day that the project launched, it was kind of a crazy rocket ship of a launch, right? I was running a clubhouse room that I run called it's called the Room About Nothing, and it's kind of just like, we just hang out, we talk about whatever, and so we said, okay, we're gonna make these pizzas. They're gonna have 100 toppings, and so I made a spreadsheet and we put all the possible toppings you might get on pizza, and people just signed up. Suddenly we had 100. We were like, oh man, we got okay, let's get 200, and then let's get 314. So all of these artists signed on to do toppings, and they each did up 3 to 6 versions of the topping. So like some toppings are rarer than others. Within, like, so there's like the broccoli topping, right? There's like basic broccoli, and then there's like broccoli with some eyes, and then there's like a crazy looking broccoli. And so the artists all signed on because they were excited to earn an NFT, to be a part of the project, throwing a global pizza party. And in fact, our artists were who onboarded a lot of the pizzerias around the world, because most of our pizzerias actually came from people in the community who said, this is my local pizzeria. I love their pizza. I know them. We have a bond of trust, and they're going to join this movement, this mission with PizzaDAO to throw a global pizza party. And our artists, I mean, they range from, we have like a 6-year-old who did who put Play-Doh into the shape of a crust and took a picture, and so that's one of our crust options. We have famous artists, Kenny Schachter and John Bergerman did toppings. They're pretty famous traditional artists. The guy from Gilmore Girls, actually, he did our vegan cheese. He's now a technologist, John Cabrera, who was on Gilmore Girls. Really nice guy, and he was excited about it. And then we have people from all over the world. We've got a ton of artists from Korea. We've got this artist from Africa who did our okra topping. His name is Opleru, and he's a pretty well-known guy because he made this amazing collection of African emoji that got a lot of publicity. And I met him in the Kernel. There's this program called Kernel Ox that is like a Web3. It's like a Web3 fellowship. It's really amazing. So we just have artists from all over the place, all levels of skill, from children all the way to career artists, and everywhere in between.
Can you speak to what Polygon has done for the NFT space?
So Polygon is EVM compatible. So it's the same mode of interaction as Ethereum. You just switch networks. So for people who have already learned the complex nonsense that is using MetaMask to interact with these smart contracts, Polygon is very easy to pick up, and it's cheap. So it's just a tremendous way for people to continue to do what they want to do, which is mint art and sell it or collect it, without having to pay huge fees, because it's less than a penny to do a Polygon transaction. So we used it to make sodas and breadsticks as a community art project, just to as some fun for our community. And we used it in CryptoVoxels to mint wearables. So because you don't want to pay 30-50 bucks to mint some ducky earring, like shoes or something for your metaverse character. So Polygon has been great for us. I think it's been great for the space, and there are other blockchains. I know people like to mint art on Tezos. People are minting a lot of NFTs on Solana. But so far for us, we've stuck with Polygon because it uses MetaMask. You don't have to set up a new wallet like you do for Tezos or for Solana, and the bridging isn't that hard. I actually do the bridging for people in our community. They just send me some whatever I send it to them on the other network. It's no big deal. So Polygon has been great for us, and we have a community. We have some community members in India, and so we're working to build stronger relationships with the Polygon team. I know some people on it. We've talked about it, and people in India actually, I think because of just culturally, the way that they deal with food is very, it makes them very open to this idea that we should throw a global pizza party, because there's already, like, culturally they have these gurudwaras where anyone can line up and get food, and so I think we have a big opportunity to build an awesome community in India, and we've already started, and I think Polygon can help us to continue that.
Can you talk about the way in which, and this is the last question, you guys are incorporating wearables?
Sure. So we have minted a few, mostly in CryptoVoxels. We don't have a huge presence in Decentraland or Sandbox, or I guess some people are using Somnium Space, but it's pretty small. We have a ton of pizza. It's fun to make pizza art, and wearables are no different. It's fun to make pizza wearables. So we have like pizza helmets, pizza tunics, pizza. Somebody made we're big fans of Snow Crash. I guess I should have said that earlier. And in fact, I have a copy over there on the table. I just picked it up. I was reading it again. And so we have a Deliverator. Actually, the car that hero protagonist uses to deliver pizza in Snow Crash. We have one of those outside our pizzeria in CryptoVoxels. And we use the wearables, kind of like we use POAPs actually a lot, in our, like, every community call we have a POAP. And then lately we've actually even started to do, and for those who don't know, POAP is a proof of attendance protocol. It's like a badge for attending something, and we run raffles actually so every community call we run a raffle, and for every POAP that you have from the last 4 community calls, you get 1 entry into the raffle. So anyone who has, however many you attended, that's how many entries you get, and then we give people wearables as a prize. Or actually, the Average Punks were nice enough to give us some Average Punks holding pizza, so we've been giving out some pizza punks, and or we also give out $25 worth of pizza. So you can we call it proof of pizza. If you buy pizza, you take a photo of the pizza and your receipt, and you tweet it. We'll reimburse you $25 of that purchase. In fact, back in the spring of 2021, I think that buying pizza and getting reimbursed by PizzaDAO was one of the best ways to onboard to Ethereum, because you get pizza for free.
Awesome. Where can people find you guys? What does everyone need to know to join the community?
So we are on Discord like most DAOs. We're on Twitter at Rare Pizzas. Our website is rarepizzas.com. We're very welcoming. We'd love you to come hang out. Maybe we'll buy you some pizza. Maybe we'll talk to your local pizzeria and see if they want to help us throw a massive global pizza party this May 22nd. So we're out there, and we want to meet you and share some pizza.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We've had the honor of sitting down today with Dread Pizza Roberts of the Rare Pizzas NFT project. Thank you so much, DPR, for joining us today.
Thank you. And saying DPR, we can't say that without saying we got a free Ross. Free Ross.
Free Ross. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a great day.